What's up, guys? Today we're gonna be talking about virtues. And so virtues are like this thing in Greek philosophy where they're traits that you make up or that already exist that help you live like a really just a good life. And I've developed my own. So there are these I think of virtues as like skills that you have to develop that they're not innate. So things like creativity and ambition, those I wouldn't consider virtues because can be creative and everybody can have ambition because that's what desire is, right? So I have 6 virtues and I put them on sticky notes on the accountability mirror, and which is a tactic I learned from David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. So my 6 virtues that I want to abide by throughout my life are humility, courage, honesty, kindness, discipline, and mindfulness. So the first one was humility, and humility is really, really important. And it's this idea of just like you're not the best. Does that make sense? Like it's kind of energizing for me when I talk about humility or when I find myself trying to be humble. Like I've realized I've been arrogant and then I try to humble myself because there's just so much to learn and so many ways for you to grow. And if you're arrogant and you kind of limit your belief, then that's just sad. Like you could learn so much by just being humble. Yeah. The second one I said was courage, I think. And courage is kind of the idea of of facing your fears. So if you're courageous, then and obviously fear is scary. It's really it's really just a hard obstacle to overcome. But if you have the courage to face your fears, and if you have the courage to face your fears, then you'll be so much more free. And as you develop the skill of courage, you'll be able to face bigger fears. And then it's just a positive, spiral where everything just gets better. Yeah. Third is honesty. I said honesty, right? Okay. So honesty is it's another necessary virtue, because if you're honest, then you don't have to spend brain power telling lies or remembering your lies. But also, you feel better because you've been telling what's true. And you're accountable for yourself. So if I say I slip up and I watch porn and I'm trying to quit, if you're honest, you won't ignore it. You'll recognize that you made a mistake and then keep pushing forward. The fourth one was kindness. Kindness is defined as the ability to be something generous and considerate. I forgot what the first one was. Anyway, it's if you're kind, then not only do you feel better, but you make other people feel better. And the more you give to other people, the more they'll be influenced by that, and the more they'll want to give back. So if you're, for example, if you so an example that I really think about a lot is homeless people, for example, the ones that are out on the street and they collect coins. And if you, like, I always want to give a couple bucks to them. And I hope that with, like, the power of, like, kindness, being generous and such, that if they get out of that cycle, then they would give back as well. Kindness is also, like, being generous and being considerate. It gives you, if you're generous and considerate, people like you more, and it gives you this sense of status almost as you're seen as like a good person. But it's just really important for the world, because if you're kind, then you can help other people, and if they're kind, then they'll help you too. So everybody's just getting better together. And maybe that's naive, but I really like that idea. The fifth one was, I say discipline or mindfulness first? We'll go with discipline. So discipline is, like, just so important. I just finished listening to Hamza's Spotify podcast on discipline. But discipline, like doing the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it, is really, really, it's just so, it's also, like, vital. Go listen to his podcast if you, like, go listen to his podcast, because it's a really good explanation. But, like, discipline is the thing that allows you to continue to grow. And if we stop growing, then we're going backwards. There's no really staying stagnant. So you either put yourself through pain to make sure you grow, or you kind of just fall off. So if you, like, keep training your skill of discipline, you keep attacking things that you know are good for you, but you know that you don't want to do, it'll make your life better by a lot. And the last one is mindfulness. And mindfulness is just, it's another one of those things that I guess you could live without, but it's a lot better if you live with it, because mindfulness is the idea of, like, you're present, so there's no thoughts in your head as you go throughout life, and you're also really aware, so you know what's going on. Okay, so if you're mindful, you slowly get a better perception of the world, and if you have a better perception of the world, you can make better decisions and thus live a better life. But mindfulness is just something that, it's like if you play video games, it's like a times 2 booster. So if you're mindful, then you can notice more and you can appreciate more. because you notice more of what you should be grateful for. So these 6 came from this book that I was reading. So I do karate, and after my black belt test for Shodan, my sensei gave us Book of 5 Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. And in it, there's 5 chapters. There's Earth, Water, Fire, Wind, and Emptiness. Okay? So, there's 6 traits, 5 chapters, 5 elements, okay? Kindness goes with Earth, because it's a foundation. If you're kind and generous and considerate, then people, like, that's kind of the foundation of being a good person. People see that you care for others, so they should care for you. And if you have the right mindset, like, I know there are things from life that absolutely suck, but a lot of them also are opportunities. And in that sense, kindness, because you can take that generosity from life and that consideration from life and then use it to make your life better. The second one, honesty, goes with water, because of water's traits of being like adaptive and being pure. So the purity comes from truth. So if you're honest, then you're truthful. So that means you have clean water. But the truth can change sometimes. So like a current or like a creek, as it flows down and it changes directions, then it can it changes directions just like the truth does, like a stream. So that's why I would correlate honesty with water. Courage goes with fire, because it's not only perceived as like a brave people, and courageous people are kind of perceived as they're willing to like walk into fire. That's actually a really good example. It's courage is the ability to walk into fire and knowing that you might get burned to still do it anyway. So if you can have courage, then a lot of stuff in your life, like a lot of the problems in your life, won't stay hard. They'll be hard, and they'll probably be really hard when you're like facing it, because I know, at least when I face my fears, it's always just really chattery right before I do it, and then I come out and I'm forged because of that fire. Fourth was wind, and wind goes with humility, because wind and humility are both really simple, and they kind of, they're also really vital. So take your breath, and I'll make another video on this, but your breath, if you have a strong breath, then you'll be able to, you see more. So if you breathe through your belly button, then you can, that's it. So you can circulate, you calm yourself down, right? So if you're nervous, people say deep breath, deep breath. So you deep breathe, and usually if you if you continue to deep breathe, then you stay calm, but you have more energy. And that's the same with humility, because if you take ego as the tightness in your chest or your throat from nerves, and you breathe, or you're humble, then you can harness that energy and still do your task. Last one is emptiness. And emptiness gets both discipline and mindfulness, because emptiness is essentially mindfulness. But I put discipline in there as well, because discipline I put it in there first and foremost because emptiness is the outlier of the 5. And I was like, I have 6. But also, it's a way of being, like mindfulness is. So being present and being aware should be a state of being. For example, you don't have to use honesty all the time. Like if you're walking, you don't have to think about being honest. Or courage, again, for example, if you're walking or breathing, you don't have to think about courage. Same thing with, like, for your really, really simple tasks, you're not thinking about those 4, like the 4 elemental virtues. But if you have discipline and mindfulness, should be constant. So while you're walking or while you're breathing, you can focus on, not breathing through your mouth like I did, but like breathing through your nose and then into your belly button and exhaling. I think what separates emptiness from the other 4 is that emptiness is a way of life rather than skills which are vital to human life but not always used. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, this is my first video. I hope you enjoyed this little food for thought, and yeah, have a great day.